For years, Hungary mastered one thing better than almost any other country in Europe: border control, a fence, a strict asylum system, a powerful political message, and one central promise: Hungary would remain an immigration-free country. As Viktor Marsai explains in his analysis published in the Jerusalem Strategic Tribune, Hungary's migration debate now points far beyond policy. It has become a question of sovereignty, identity, security, and Europe's future political order. Marsai, executive director of the Migration Research Institute in Budapest and fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies in Washington, argues that the new Tisza government is not breaking with Hungary's strict migration doctrine. It is trying to preserve it. The fence will remain. Border protection will be strengthened. Illegal immigrants will not be resettled in Hungary from Western Europe, and new work permits for foreign guest workers from third countries are expected to be suspended. At first glance, this looks like continuity, a new government, the same hard line. But this is where the real problem begins, because the Tisza government is not inheriting only a policy, it is inheriting a contradiction. The first shock comes from Brussels. Hungary has already been hit with a heavy financial penalty over its asylum system. The European Court of Justice ruled that Budapest had unlawfully restricted access to asylum procedures. The result, a daily fine of €1 million deducted from payments due to Hungary. And now comes the next pressure point: the EU Pact on Migration and Asylum. This pact changes the rules of the game. It requires member states to operate inside a common European framework. It creates border procedures. It introduces solidarity mechanisms. And it gives Brussels new leverage over countries that refuse to comply. The Tisza government says it wants a solution with no payments and no migrants. But Marsai points to the central dilemma. How can Hungary remain strict on migration while respecting EU law? If Budapest complies, it may have to rebuild an asylum system capable of receiving claims at its border. If it refuses, it risks more fines, more legal disputes, and deeper confrontation with the European Union. So the new government faces a brutal choice: preserve the political architecture built under Viktor Orbán, or repair relations with Brussels. It may want both, but it may not be able to have both. Then comes the second shock: labor. Migration in Hungary is not only about asylum seekers, it is also about workers. The Tisza government has promised to restrict foreign guest workers, but Hungarian companies complain of labor shortages. Some sectors need manpower. Neighboring countries are relaxing their labor rules, and Hungary risks becoming less competitive if it closes the door too tightly. Here again, the contradiction is clear. Workers fear wage pressure, businesses fear labor scarcity, voters fear uncontrolled migration, and the government must satisfy all of them. But policy is not made in slogans. It is made in ministries, in regulations, in EU negotiations, in labor markets, in border procedures, and in court rulings. That is why this moment matters. Because Post-Orbán Hungary is not simply deciding whether to be more open or more closed. It is deciding whether a national migration doctrine built on resistance can survive inside a European legal order built on shared rules. The old system promised clarity: no migrants, no quotas, no compromise. The new reality offers something very different: legal pressure, economic pressure, institutional pressure, and a society that still expects protection. Hungary's new government wants to move beyond Orbán, but on migration, it remains trapped inside the architecture Orbán built. This is JST Situation Room, and this is the new Hungary taking shape under pressure.